Leftover women are panicking. Chinese men have realized that older leftover women are worthless. Today's video comes from the China Unvarnished channel. They will be linked in the description. And the video is actually titled Leftover Women Are Panicking. Chinese men have realized that older leftover women are worthless. What's happening now is that men in China are waking up. The simp economy is dying off in China. This past Valentine's Day, women got next to nothing. And men are now walking away in China, concluding that these women are not worth the problem. This is in a country where women are now demanding anywhere from 80,000 to 800,000 United States dollars for marriage at 40 years old. Watch the end of the video to fully understand the implications of this, how Chinese men are waking up, why they're waking up, and what they're doing as a result of waking up, and how this will affect women and men going forward, and not only in China, but in all of society. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Men are beginning to awaken, and in the future, more and more older unmarried women will face a situation where they are ignored and no one is willing to marry them. In the past, dowries of 200,000 yuan, 300,000 yuan, or even 500,000 yuan, 600,000 yuan were common, yet these women were still dissatisfied with men, complaining that men lacked ability and that their parents did not have a pension. Additionally, the demands for men to hand over their salary cards and to take care of the woman's parents while ignoring the man's parents have become a thing of the past. Nowadays, many men in China have seen through all of this and are no longer willing to compromise themselves to please these older women. Houses, cars, savings, dowries, what were once considered essential conditions for marriage, are now things men are no longer willing to compromise on. Because now, older unmarried women in China always set their expectations very high, yet they themselves are not particularly outstanding. However, more and more men have chosen to lie flat, tang ping, no longer caring about marriage. They believe that living alone, putting money into the bank to earn interest, is fully sufficient to secure their retirement. Compared to accommodating the demands of high expectation women, this lifestyle is much more comfortable. As time goes on, the reproductive value of older unmarried women gradually decreases, and men are no longer willing to spend a large amount of money to marry a woman who cannot bear children. They no longer want to live a life where they are looked down upon, criticized, and exploited, nor do they want to be treated like slaves serving women. Men are beginning to understand that rather than living such a miserable life, it is better to choose singlehood, living freely and comfortably, and being able to take good care of their own parents. For those older unmarried women, what may await them in the future is only the fate of growing old alone.
The Chinese matchmaking market is undergoing a major shift, and it is becoming increasingly difficult for older unmarried women to find a spouse. This is because men are becoming more rational and clear-headed. Recently, an interesting incident occurred at a matchmaking corner in China. Many older unmarried women demand that the men must own a house and a car, and also provide a substantial dowry and gold jewelry such as rings, necklaces, and earrings. However, the men's response was very clear. They are willing to meet these demands, but the woman must undergo a premarital checkup and provide proof of her general physical condition, GPC. The men's attitude is firm. They are willing to provide a house, car, and dowry, but these are savings accumulated over 2 generations, and they require a woman with a clean record. This incident has sparked widespread discussion online. Some argue that men should not treat women as objects of transaction or equivalent exchange.
So men should not treat women as objects of attraction or equivalent exchange, but these are the same women who are demanding $80,000 for marriage, 80,000 to 800,000, almost $1 million in China for marriage. They're demanding houses, cars. They're demanding that these men hand over their salary cards. This is crazy. This is insanity. Even the men who are willing to negotiate on this, guys, are still kind of crazy. Like, okay, well, you have to provide a health checkup and meet these specific standards. Bro, no one should be spending that kind of money on a woman. Oh, if you want to marry me, you have to buy me a car. You have to buy me a house. Your parents have to make a certain have a certain amount of pension. The women in China are looking at the parents of these men and looking at the pension of these men's parents. Jesus Christ. These guys, it's gone from bad to worse. It's gone from bad to worse. Only a lunatic would get involved with these women, with what they're doing. No sane person. Women are like, how dare you treat marriage and relationships like they're transactional, bro? I have to pay you to marry you. I have to pay you 80,000 United States dollars or $1 million United States dollars just to marry you. I have to give you a house, a car, a ton of money, and I also have to make a ton of money. And these are just the bare minimums that are non-negotiable. The concept of paying a dowry to marry a woman, just to be clear, is completely new to China. This is traditionally not something that occurred in China. This is something that women came up with over the last 10 years. This is madness. Madness, absolute insanity. Don't be surprised when women in America start trying this crap as well. Okay? It won't catch. Men will laugh in their faces. Men will absolutely laugh in their faces. And I guarantee you those simps will start saying things like, guys, I know how it sounds to you, but this is the reason why you should pay a dowry for relationship, for marriage. And how they'll come up with a bunch of crazy things, how it can strengthen the marriage and all of this bull crap. Guys, it is literally over for women in Western society and Westernized societies, demanding these large amounts of money, saying that men should not have any standards. And if you have standards as a man, you're treating the relationship as transactional, while in the same breath demanding anywhere from $100K to $1 million. In a country like China, where a $20,000 salary is a high salary. Jesus help us. These women don't even like these men. They don't want these men. They want hung low. These men are the plan B guys.
Form of discrimination and disrespect towards women. They believe men should value a woman's inner qualities rather than her virginity, and that imposing traditional views on women is shameful. Since the topic of tradition has been mentioned, some people have responded. In the past, the 8-pallet sedan was used to transport a lady from a good family. The official marriage was to a virtuous wife and mother. The 3 mediators and 6 appointments were to hire a woman who was knowledgeable and refined, and a substantial dowry was to marry a woman with a pure body. Historically, Chinese marriage requirements included purity as a basic standard, so why has it become a high standard today? At the same time, many people point out that if a dowry is required, it essentially represents a transaction or sale, and demanding a virgin is not excessive. They use the analogy that if they spend the price of a new car but end up with a used car, a modified car, or even an accident-prone or tampered car, they would be at a loss. Therefore, if these women demand equality, it is reasonable for men to require a car condition report. After all, a man is marrying a wife, not a vampire who depletes the family's resources.
It's 2024 now, and ladies, you need to face a reality. Chinese men are becoming increasingly smart. Have you noticed that men are not only becoming less proactive, but also less willing to spend money on women?
I want to just read something to you guys. So I just asked this. I asked Google, and this is what I got from their AI. Did Chinese men historically pay a dowry to women for marriage? No. In traditional Chinese culture, men historically did not pay a dowry for marriage. Instead, the bride's family would provide a dowry to the groom, meaning the practice in China was more akin to a bride price, where the groom's family would give a payment to the bride's family to secure marriage. Yeah. So this is crazy. So this is not a normal thing. This is absolutely not a normal thing. Okay? This is, and in cases where a man did provide money, it would be called a bride price. The primary practice in China was for the groom's family to provide a bride price to the bride's family, not a dowry from the groom. All right? So that's something completely different. Now, but again, normally, however, it would be the bride's family who would provide. Historically in China, whenever a dowry was involved, it would be the bride's family who would provide a dowry to the groom's family. So this is absolute nonsense. Absolutely crazy, 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 crazy. I can't believe this stuff. And of course they're trying to play it off, but it's not. Modern women have completely lost it. Who is going to want to jump into a relationship with a 40-year-old woman who makes all of these demands? What do you get as a man? Okay? It's much cheaper to go and see a lady of the night. China is also, guys, you know what's absolutely insane? You know what's insane? Because I was reading about this. China is petrified. The Chinese government fears that the increasing number of single men in comparison to single women has exacerbated the trend of men walking away. Yeah. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. In China, men pay rising dowries as bride prices surge. So men who do want to get married are paying massive amounts of dowries. And now the number of single men compared to the number of single women is so high in terms of single women that the state is beginning to become fearful that if more of these men don't start marrying women soon, then the government will be in a lot of trouble because it cannot supplement the income and subsidize the income of all of these women. So, because guys, basically men are designed to suffer. But if women end up on the streets, if you have a bunch of homeless women on the streets, they're not going to do anything. Either they're going to turn to selling their flour, for the price of a cheese sandwich. The same women who are demanding large dowries are going to be on the street selling their flowers for the price of a cheese sandwich, just like they did when the Greek economy collapsed, like 10 years ago. Or they're going to basically just end up living like homeless people and suffering out there. And that's really it. And the state will have to do something, but the Chinese government cannot provide for these people, cannot provide for all of these women. So and China's broke right now. China's in a bad place. So if China is trying to subsidize the living of all of these women, and it already doesn't have that kind of money, it will only exacerbate the financial issues of China, while the savings of men in China will continue to grow. Basically, China needs more people right now. That's why they got rid of the one-child policy. But people aren't having kids. So their population is shrinking, and AI is not going to replace all of these jobs. Another thing that you idiots don't seem to understand, those of you that think that AI is going to replace all of these jobs, is the fact that if you have fewer buyers, China is a giant economy. Hence, you need people to buy your shit. So if you're just producing tons and tons of stuff, but you don't have enough buyers, if your population shrinks or gets slashed in half, or a large portion of your population is now old people, the spending is going to decrease substantially. So even if you're able to make up the differences in production using AI, your own local economy is gone. China is one of the largest economies in the world. They have over 1 billion people. If you're able to do well in China, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. If you're able to take advantage of the Chinese economy, you can make lots of money. Black Myth Wukong came out in China. That's a game that's it's not anti-feminist. They basically said, we're just going to focus on making games that people want to play. That game has generated at least $850 million already. And that was like a week or two ago. It's possible that the game has already hit $1 billion in sales. Okay? And a lot of that came from the Chinese economy. The Chinese economy is not a joke. So if they don't have people, they don't have anything. They have a country is nothing without its people. But let me make this clear. A country without its men is not a country. A country without its men is a wasteland. Guys, These men, not only are they refusing to get married and refusing to date, they're also laying flat. What are you going to do? Send the police after them and punish them? They're giving up. They'll make enough money to survive and thrive and no more. And they'll put their money into the bank. And if the government confiscates it or taxes them heavily, then they'll make less. Because if you start doing that, you remove the incentive for men to work. Also, if men are not taking care of women, women have to go and find their own homes. They have to pay their own bills, pay for everything, because they're no longer sharing expenses. They're no longer sharing utilities and housing and all of these things, which greatly rises the cost of living for women. And their parents are aging rapidly. So within 10 to 20 years, for many of these women, their parents won't be able to help them or give them a place to live, especially when their own parents are living in poverty. And here's another interesting thing about China. Even if your parents abandon you, like kick you out at 16 in China, you are still responsible. This is crazy. You are still responsible to take care of your parents in old age. That's how China works. You're basically you're basically their social security. You are their retirement fund, and the Chinese government will force you to take care of them. Okay, you can be put in prison for not taking care of your parents, even if your parents, like my father, was a bastard. He beat the living shit out of me. He abused me mentally, physically, everything. This guy was the devil. I would legally be required to take care of my bastard father in China. It doesn't matter. He told me to get the fuck out at 14. And he was damn serious. Guys, my father, when I was growing up, I used to collect comic books. And I was a smart kid because I said back in the 90s, these books are going to be worth a bunch. So I would go around collecting all of these old comic books, including a bunch of first editions. First editions. He didn't like comic books. He was a religious fanatic. So he would throw them out or didn't want them in his house. And I had maybe hundreds of comic books that I had specifically collected for the purpose that 20 or 30 years later I could sell them. This guy is a psychopath. Absolute psychopath. And I would have to pay his retirement in China. So now you begin to understand that these women are in a lot of trouble, because many of the women who are around today, they were born during that one child only policy. And even then, most people are not even having children at all in China anymore. If they do have children, they will only have one child. But most people are no longer having children at all. So all of these women are 99% of these women come from a family where they are the only child. They have no siblings to rely on. They don't have a lot of cousins to rely on. They don't have a large family, a community to turn to. The Chinese government is well aware of this. The only people that they can turn to, and don't forget this, these are the same women who would also be expected to take care of their parents in old age. So guys, who does that responsibility end up falling on? It falls on the husband. Because the woman marries this man, and now the man has to care for his aging parents and also her aging parents. But this is the situation. The Chinese economy is so bad, people can't even find work over there. Either you're a streamer or a food delivery person. That's about it right now. So all of these women are going to end up homeless. They're going to end up homeless. They're going to end up living in poverty. They're going to end up in extraordinary states of destitution. It's not even like the Roman Empire, where the Roman Empire was subsidizing the expenses of women for around 100 years after men abandoned the empire, and then it was taken over. Well, it was pillaged and it fell because barbarians realized that the emperor had no clothes. It didn't have any, men wouldn't fight, would not protect the empire, none of that. Well, guys, think about this carefully. These are the same men that have to stand up and fight for the country. So if there's a war, they would have to go and fight. The Chinese men, they're not fighting for shit. They're laying flat. They picked it up from Gen Z. They're laying flat. They're saying we're not doing this. And if the Chinese government comes for us, we'll just lay flat. And you're sure you're gonna take me out, take all of us out, get rid of all of us. I don't care. These men are done. They're sick. They are sick of this crap. And the Chinese government is petrified at how much these women are charging these men for dowries. They know guys, what do women do? What do women do? If women are left unchecked, you end up in a situation where your nation can crumble because the demands and expenses of women within these societies become so unsustainable that eventually the men just walk away. The state can no longer subsidize the living of women, and the entire country collapses. It's either taken over or it just collapses, because of the actions of modern women. And this is the thing. It's not, I say modern women, but it's a story as old as time. That is what led to the collapse of the Roman Empire, and this is what's leading to the collapse in Western society, in Westernized society. And women will just naturally say that they are victims. A country without its men is not a country. A country without its men is a wasteland. And a man who does not have love for family or love for country will fight for neither. And if you try to punish a man and indoctrinate him and keep him in a state of fear that, oh, you better love your country or else we're going to punish you. For example, this whole thought policing thing, it's psychotic. You're basically being punished. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, and then try to control your thoughts on top of it. This is, guys, people will basically live in states of fear. Look at North Korea. North Korea is desperately poor. Desperately poor. And guess what? And a part of that poverty is because of how afraid people are in that country. People are afraid to do anything in that country. And as a result of that, it plays a role in all of it. Their productivity, everything. They do exactly what they're supposed to do and no more. So you're basically going to create dystopias. You're going to create systems of tyranny. Basically, Marxist authoritarian countries. And all of the prosperity in China will be lost. And here's the thing, the Chinese state is afraid of its people. China is petrified of its people because the truth is that when you look at the number of people that serve in law enforcement versus the number of people that they have, ain't no way that they can stop all of these people if they flip out. If you have, it wouldn't take much. If a few million people in China say fuck you to the state, guys, a few million, they couldn't hold them. China has over 1 billion people. What do you think if even just a small percentage, if 5% of the people in China flipped out, 5%, that's 50 million people. If 50 million people flip out in China, ain't no way the Chinese government can do anything. They could take the entire country. You don't even need 50 million. How about 2.5%? How about 2%? 2%, that's 20 million people, guys. That's 20 million. That's over 20 million because they have over 1 billion people. Now you see the situation that they're in. They didn't plan ahead for this. And they don't know what to do. We need to make men strong again, make men great again. How about this? How about you go fuck yourselves? That's really what the average man right now is feeling. That's what he's putting out there. By the way, guys, considering the hard economic times we are in and where our country is going right now, in today's challenging world, knowing how to use government and community resources can make all the difference. That's why I created the Survive and Thrive course. This 12-lesson crash course teaches you how to secure cash, money, food, housing, healthcare, and more. Imagine having a trusted advisor showing you how to leverage community support to stabilize your finances and grow your wealth. Join me and learn step-by-step strategies to maximize available resources and enhance your financial stability. Click the link in the description to sign up now. Guys, women have put themselves between a rock and a hard place. and no one's coming to rescue them. Men are walking away in China and they're not looking back.
They are clearly aware that spending money on women has no real significance. It's more important to have money for themselves. The era of licking dogs and submissive men is over. In the past, men would often spend a lot of money to pursue women, but now men are asking, why should I spend money on you? Can spending money win your genuine affection? How likely am I to succeed? So they prefer to spend money on improving themselves, such as buying new clothes or investing in skincare, dressing more attractively to attract other potential partners. Isn't that better? Previously, men might have been willing to spend money for love, but now many men prefer to invest in self-improvement. Today's young men are more meticulous about their appearance, from hairstyles and outfits to skincare. They are involved in activities like skiing and cycling, beyond just swimming and gym workouts. Many of them, especially those born in the 2000s, exhibit a rebellious charm that many women find particularly attractive. So, when men start to focus on spending their money on themselves, it really creates pressure. Single women, you must be aware of this change and feel a sense of urgency.
Even in 2024, there are still many little fairies who persist in the belief of never settling and never compromising on marriage, feeling good about themselves, believing they will surely find the right partner. To these women who have been brainwashed by toxic positivity, I want to say that with the collapse of the dog-licking economy in 2024, and the reduced investment in women by the capital market, many men have completely given up pursuing women. Look at those awakened men. They either switch game equipment daily or change cars and fish, living very comfortably. What is even more worrying is that the new generation of post-00s girls are very clear-headed. They quickly enter the marriage market once they start working, actively pursuing young men with good conditions. Meanwhile, many post-80s and post-90s little fairies are still thinking of using old tactics to handle men, such as being slow to warm up, using the strategy of playing hard to get, and demanding various gifts, red envelopes, and rituals. These old tricks have long been seen through by men and are no longer effective. Some women with strong self-esteem might retort that they would rather not marry and end up in a nursing home with their girlfriends rather than settle. However, many so-called girlfriends have already quietly entered the marriage market, and you might end up alone in the end. In the current economic downturn, if you can meet someone who cares about you, respects you, and is willing to work for the future, you should cherish them and stop dreaming of a Prince Charming coming to marry you. If you continue to ignore this batch of hard-working and ambitious men, they might choose younger women in the future or decide not to marry and just focus on earning and spending money.
Guys, I told you where the manosphere is heading. This is why they want to shut it down. Don't be surprised when they start coming for the manosphere in China. The reason why they're coming after the manosphere has nothing to do with saying that the manosphere is encouraging men to behave negatively towards women and making men dangerous towards women. The reason why they're pissed off with the manosphere and they're coming after the manosphere is because the manosphere is teaching men to walk away. It's encouraging men to walk away from relationships that are toxic, relationships that do not work for them, relationships that just are not worth it. What does the woman provide to me? How is the woman helping me? What value is the woman bringing in my life? These are the questions that are now being asked, okay? And of course, when you actually investigate it, the answer is nothing at all or nothing of value. In fact, she's taking away from my life. She's taking away value from my life. She's creating problems in my life. I'm less happy. The person that she looks like, when I met her, you know, she and now that I've seen her without her makeup, they're two different people. She is not the person that I thought she was. Her personality is absolutely horrible. I wish I had not gotten married to her. Her hygiene is terrible as well. Why would anyone in their right mind get married? This is what's happening right now. These men are waking up. So where the manosphere is heading is literally teaching men to be alone. That's the next big wave of the manosphere, okay? Teaching men to be alone and teaching discipline and self-control, okay? What does that mean? There are always going to be men who try to take it even further. For example, you know, you have like Andrew Tate starts saying some crazy things like they don't even have fun, you know, blah, blah, blah. He starts spouting off a lot of foolishness. The big thing is balance. All right. So you should have fun in life. A lot of us as men, a lot of us spend very little time having fun. We spend time chasing, trying to get into relationships, build value so that we can find a wife. And then for what? For absolutely nothing. We get literally nothing out of it in the end. Nothing but problems, heartache, pain, and suffering. So now the tide is shifting. Now everything is changing. Men are saying that we'll spend our money on ourselves. Let the state take care of women. Let the state deal with women. Let women marry one another. And as you can hear, as you heard what this woman said, these women are saying, well, I'll just stay single forever and go into a nursing home. China doesn't have the money to subsidize all of these women and provide for them in nursing homes. These women are crazy. Guys, even in the United States does not have enough money to subsidize all of the baby boomers in nursing homes. So as men are walking away and the state is continually putting pressure upon men and attacking men, they've created like a double tier problem, because they're pushing men out of society, but they cannot survive without men in society. Men pay 80% of all the taxes in the United States, and that's how it is across virtually all westernized societies. Women make 80% of all consumer purchases. So women are the ones spending the vast amount of money in society, while men are the ones paying the vast amount of taxes in society. The state cannot survive with men walking away. The state cannot survive with men who are choosing not to work, and the state can definitely not survive with men who are choosing not to marry. Okay? Because they are not subsidizing the living of women. And the state will then have to figure out how to provide for all of these women. The state cannot. The state's broke. So all of these women, where are they going to be? They're either going to end up living with their parents, or they're going to end up living on the streets. Many of you are like, well, women can always find a simp. Yeah. Guys, there are not enough simps for all of these women. There are not enough simps for all of these women. I think that it's far-fetched. Right now there's an appearance that there's an abundance of men willing to get into relationships with women, but the reality is, guys, look at marriage in the United States. Less than 1 out of every 1,000 men in the United States are getting married right now. Less than 1 out of every 1,000. Those are insane numbers, and no one's talking about it. Come 2030, 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be childless and single. Those are just the childless and single women, guys. That number does not include single mothers. When you factor in single mothers, we're looking at rates of closer to 70 to 90% of women who will be childless and who will be single. So you're gonna have a bunch of women who are childless and single, and they have no man to help them. And then you're going to have a bunch of women who are single mothers, and there are no men willing to get into relations with them and marry them and take them on, because men are now learning how to be alone. That's the final frontier, y'all. That's the claimed. And he said that this was like basically a warning of overpopulation. Once all the social roles were filled, then the mice basically stopped reproducing. The females became aggressive. They would no longer raise their children. They became very aggressive towards the males, and they were emerged a group of mice called the beautiful ones, who just they didn't even bother. They did not even bother with dating and relationships. They basically just went their own way. And they ate, slept, and pooped, and lived their best lives, and just tucked themselves away. And it was very frightening for the researcher, because they completely avoided all of society. And most men do not need much to survive. I've said this countless times to you. The average man can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road, okay, while the average woman cannot. The average man can live very content on literally nothing. Guys, when you know how to leverage the community, when you know how to leverage community resources and government resources, many of you will not have to work. I'm telling you guys, go and check out my course, y'all. All right? You're going to learn how to survive and thrive using government and community resources. I keep telling y'all this, all right? It's not a game. All right. Knowing how to use government and community resources can make all the difference. That's why I created the Survive and Thrive course. It's a 12-lesson crash course that's going to teach you how to secure cash, money, food, housing, healthcare. Not women, you don't need that, and more. Imagine having a trusted advisor. Imagine having Angry by your side who's going to teach you how to leverage community support to stabilize your finances and grow your wealth. Guys, this is something that these are skill sets every man needs to learn. All right, and that I learned over the last 10 years, bro. Join me and learn step-by-step strategies to maximize available resources and enhance your financial stability. And you can do that by clicking the link in the description to sign up now for the course. Guys, women put themselves in this situation. They put themselves in this situation, and now they're going to have to face the consequences of their poor decisions.
After all, compared to women, men still have more advantages and confidence in earning money. Those who continue to cling to the never-settling attitude might end up with nothing but the passage of time.
I
was born in 1990, and now I'm already 35 years old. I really want to say a few words to those older single men. When you were in your 20s, you didn't look for a partner, and now that you're in your 30s, you're starting to panic. You think young girls aren't suitable for you, and you look down on older single women like us, thinking that you can't win us over. Actually, that's a misconception. The 20s are not just a golden period for women, it's the same for men. You might have thought that back then you didn't have money or a house, and that dating required spending money, but do you think that dating in your 30s doesn't cost money? When you were in your 20s, you felt that you didn't have money, a house, or a car, so you wanted to wait until you had earned money, and then chase after girls in your 30s. Even when you're in your 30s, you still need to spend money to maintain a relationship. But in your 20s, it's actually easier to impress girls. A bouquet of flowers, a meal, or a trip.
Do you hear this bullshit? Women in their 20s have extremely high have much higher standards these days. All right, these women are now going after men. These older women are going after men, trying to gaslight these men because these men no longer want to have relationships with them, and they're like, "Oh, you could have done this in your 20s. You could have gotten a girl when she was in her 20s. You believe that it's considerably easier for a woman to get into a relationship, and that you have to go and work and earn all of this value and create value for yourself just so you could find a woman." But that's not true. You could have found a woman in your 20s, all right? And now, so what you're doing, say that you only want to date women in their 20s now, is absolutely unfair to older women. Okay, you did this to yourself, so why should we have to pay for your incompetence and your mistakes? You could have dated men, you could have dated younger women. Just like you could have dated women in your 20s, just like we dated men in our 20s. All right. You're the ones who failed to put the plan. You're the ones who took this attitude. You're the ones who thought that you had to go and do all of these things so that now you could, and work hard until you were in your 30s to build wealth and resources so that a woman would go out with you and want to marry you. When in reality, younger women have lower standards. So it would have been much easier to get into a relationship with one of them. All right. So now that you're in your 30s, you really should be dating women at your own age. Okay. Women who have life experience, and women who have value that is similar to your own, but not younger women. Guys, this is gaslighting at its finest. Do you think that this shows you the character of women? It shows you how they're thinking and the level of selfishness. Guys, they will say the most ridiculous things, and only a simp would listen to them. This is a form of hate. How can they think so little of us? They see us as not even human beings. They see us as beneath them, and they lie, and twist the truth and the reality to the point where now they're calling. And what do? We are victims. We are victims. Okay, what you're doing is unfair. We are victims. We are victims. You need to stop doing this. The government needs to outlaw this. Men should not be allowed to date younger women. Guys, men should not be allowed to date women overseas. Check this out. Do you see how women operate? Men should not be allowed to date women overseas. So you should not be allowed to date foreign women. You also should not, and they're doing it in Western society as well, because they're saying in the United States, they're saying that men wanting to date younger women, that's not biological, that's environmental. Men are taught to desire younger women. Guys, so men should not be allowed to date women outside of the United States, outside of their countries, outside of their home country, so outside of China, outside of US, wherever they are. And men should not be allowed to date women who are younger than them either. Do you see where we're going with this? And it's all by, and this is all what society teaches men. All right, they should date the women. They should date women who who are similar ages or older than they are. So it's okay for a younger man to date. It's okay for a younger man to date an older woman, but it's not okay for a man to date a woman that's younger than he is. This is how dystopic these women are, guys. Like they wanted everything, and now they're pushing for policies. They're going to do is continue to push men, to a point where they just stop dating entirely. They just stop getting into relationships entirely. They just walk away.
Are really easy to win over as long as you treat them sincerely. However, by the time you're in your 30s, things become more complicated. You'll find that not only does it cost more money, but dating also becomes more difficult. Older single women may be more selective because they've been through more and have a clearer understanding of what's good and what's not. If your gifts are too cheap, they won't be appreciated. If they're too expensive, you'll feel it's a waste. These issues make dating even more challenging. Therefore, you should seize the best opportunity to find a partner when you're in your 20s. Don't keep saying that older single women have missed the best age for marriage, because you've also missed it. You men in your 30s have also missed the best age.
Guys, women are trying to tell men that they're exactly like women. Okay? Women are so far, they are so lost in their own views, in their own reality, that they cannot accept that men and women are different. That women prioritize men with resources. Men prioritize women for their fertility. Okay, women are more likely to choose a man based on his ability to survive, while men are more likely to choose a woman based on her ability to reproduce. And youth is a sign of fertility and ability to have healthy children and care for those children over a long period of time. Also, younger women are more attractive. Their skin is tighter. They look more youthful. They look more feminine because of their youthful appearance. Modern women absolutely hate these things. They are jealous of younger women, and they're going to continue trying to gaslight men and convince men of absolute nonsense. This is a load of nonsense. This is the reason, guys, I told you that men rationalize with facts, women rationalize with feelings. This is the reason why a woman could openly say things that sound blatantly insane and try to pass it off as reasonable, and then have women and others and simps, back her up, and no one calls her out.
Now you'll find that not only have you not bought a house or a car, but you also haven't found a partner. So my advice is for the young guys in their 20s, start taking relationships seriously at that age. And for the men in their 30s, do you understand? What's most important for you now is to make money, because women in their 30s often have higher financial expectations, and your gifts can't be too cheap. These are all lessons I've learned from my own past failures.
I will never look for a woman in this lifetime. I'm 42 years old, have been single and working for 10 years, and have saved up 600,000 yuan. Now, I live off the interest. I won't work my life away for a woman. You might say I'm extreme, but let me tell you, the belief I have held onto for the past 10 years is to never get married. As long as I don't get married, I can achieve financial freedom. As long as I don't get married, I won't be dragged down. As long as I don't get married, I can avoid all the high expenses. Houses, cars, gold jewelry, gold necklaces, bride prices, social interactions, gifts for women.
Now, guys, 600,000 yuan is equivalent to $84,940. So this man has saved up $85,000. He worked for 10 years. He saved up $85,000 in China, and he's living off the interest right now. Off just the interest. And as long as he avoids cars and houses and any of that stuff, and does not get married, doesn't have to pay bride prices or any of that nonsense, and lives a humble life, he will now achieve financial freedom and never have to work again. Now, granted, I think China is going to collapse, and they're going to confiscate all of that money, and those interest payments are going to end. But regardless of that, this is a man who's planning ahead. Most of these men are now saying, all I have to do is just save my money, focus on myself, and I can achieve financial freedom. He walked away 10 years ago. He said he will never marry a woman in this lifetime. This is the reason why the message right now will be walk away and learn how to be alone. This is the big thing in the manosphere. And it's not even not marrying or any of that stuff. Because there's passport kings, there's MWA, men with alternatives. There's, there are men who still want to, have relationships. But the biggest lesson for men right now will be learning how to be alone, learning how to be with yourself. And guys, that's where the monks are going to come in. That's where a lot of the monks are going to step in. The monks and the hermits. A lot of the hermits, because monks are basically men who choose not to have relationships with women. Hermits are men who basically choose to avoid relations with just about anyone in society. They basically don't keep a lot of friends or any friends at all. And instead, they're focusing on themselves, and they're distant from society and from people. That doesn't mean that they don't work, that they don't have lives outside of their homes, but they basically are focusing entirely on themselves. They can go out and enjoy themselves. For example, I used to go to the hookah bars. I used to go to the hookah bar and have some hookah. But that doesn't mean that they're interacting with anyone there. It doesn't mean that they can't interact. It doesn't mean that they don't have social skills. It means that they prefer their peace, and they'll just enjoy themselves, relax, and when it's over, it's over. That's how these men are. These men don't want any bull crap. They don't want any bullshit in their lives. They don't want any of that. Guys, think about women are demanding 80,000 United States dollars or 1 million United States dollars for marriage. This guy has 85,000 saved up, and he's now able to live comfortably off the interest. This is what more men are going to be doing. And if China begins confiscating the money, if these men remain single, that's not going to encourage men to get married. The Chinese government, like, they have to be seeing this. They damn well know that there's nothing they can do to stop this. You have women demanding almost $100,000 minimum, or even $1 million. How do you tell a man in China when the average person, where $20,000 is a high salary in China, to go and find $80,000 minimum or $1 million to go and marry these women and subsidize their living? How do you use and saying that get a man who marries you? If he doesn't get a man who worships you. Do not be with a man who does not see you as a goddess. Do not be with a man who does not kneel to you. Do not be with a man who does not worship you. Do not be with a man who does not essentially what they're saying is pray to them. Basically put them above God or in the same league as God. What happened when people tried this? What happened with the golden calf? Because what women are doing right now is the golden V. They have the golden V on a pedestal, and they're basically carrying it around right now. The golden V. What did God do? He destroyed the golden calf. What do you think he's going to do to the golden V? The golden V is going to face destruction. But before it goes, and how will that happen? In the states and in states of destitution. By the way, guys, go and check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse. Okay? Dive into exclusive podcasts, Gen X stories, and more. Plus, get access to our passive income blueprint, exclusive videos, and guides on building wealth and thriving. We also have a chat where you can reach me directly. Don't miss out. Click the link in the description to subscribe now. Guys, women chose this position. They chose this for themselves, but they can't handle what they've done. They can't handle the consequences, and the state knows that they can't handle it either. The state knows that it cannot subsidize the living of women forever. One of the next big waves of things is going to be looking poor, all right? Or more so, why looking poor is important. More and more men are going to begin focusing on not just learning how to be alone, but also learning how to look poor. When you have so many guys who are having their lives destroyed now, as soon as women find out that they became something in life, through M2 and so forth, then, if you were a broke boy, women who you had a relationship with 20 years ago or 30 years ago, most of the time, they're not going to come after you because it'd be a waste of lawyer fees. A lot of men will be going forward, living in the shadows. The richest of us will be living in the shadows, building our net worths up and going around looking poor. You're going to have guys driving old pickup trucks with the dirt on it still, dressing like they're laborers, okay? Step outside of their house and put some dust on their clothes and then walk into stores like with boot cover with mud with with boots covered in mud and dirt. And the reality is that they're doing this to give the perception that they are poor, so that women, the average woman, will not want a relationship with them. The average woman will not want to be anywhere near them. All right, they're going to stay at home. They're going to, if they want to go out into society and be around others, or they're going to go overseas. If they want to go on dates, they're going to go overseas, but they're not going to do it in Western society. Don't be surprised when it may not be as many Chinese men, but don't be surprised when some Chinese people start going outside of China and looking for relationships outside of China. Right now, China is beginning confiscating the passports of people who are wealthy or people who are just middle class, because they don't want these people leaving China. A lot of people in China are getting the idea like, okay, we'll just leave China and go overseas and find something else. And the government is so paranoid because the people who are leaving are the people with the means to leave and the people who have the ability to provide value within society. So they're losing their most educated people. They're losing the wealthy. They're losing the middle class. They're losing people who are just frustrated. A guy like this guy that we saw earlier, who said that he saved up 85,000 US dollars and is just living off the interest right now, that perfectly illustrates the situation. I told you guys, the average man could live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road. More and more men are going to take this exact same step. For example, as I said, once you have your expenses paid off, you like your home, living expenses, like you have a roof over your head. A lot of men don't need more than that. If you look hard enough, for even in today's economy, in a lot of places, you can still find a place to live where your rent won't cost more than $1,000 a month. In some places, even less than that, $750, $800. And, for example, and like I said, guys, when you know what you're doing, and you know how to utilize, you know what you're doing, and you know how to utilize utilize government benefits and community services, you can avoid a lot of things. You will thrive. You will thrive when you know how to leverage government benefits and community benefits. So even if you're not getting from the government, just learning how to replace your expenses with your food expenses, your living expenses, cost of everything, and even qualify for cash and health insurance without having a job. Guys, you can qualify for a lot of these things. You can have a ton of money in the bank. All right, you can have $500,000 in the bank and still qualify for these things because you do not have any present income, and there's nothing they can do about it. Not a damn thing that they can do about it. It's the truth. It's really, really the truth. Like I said, guys, go and check this course out. All right, go and check out my course, guys. You need this, guys. Don't buy it now before the price goes up. Buy it now before the price goes up. Because, guys, in today's challenging world, knowing how to use government and community resources can make all the difference. That's why I created the Survive and Thrive course. This 12-lesson crash course teaches you how to secure cash, money, food, housing, healthcare, and more. Imagine having a trusted advisor showing you how to leverage community support to stabilize your finances and grow your wealth. Join me and learn step-by-step strategies to maximize available resources and enhance your financial security. Click the link in the description to sign up now, guys. So I was looking at this video, and it's basically why looking poor is important. There's a bunch of these videos out now. There was one creator who made a video, and I was like, oh, wow, this video is great. And then I'm seeing that a lot of people are making these videos. All right. This video that I'm going to be showing you in a moment, it actually comes from a large YouTuber. He has 700,000 subscribers. The name of his channel is Vincent Chan. And the video is actually titled Why Looking Poor is Important. So you can actually see it right there, why looking poor is important. And we're going to go ahead and jump into the video. And I want you guys to listen to what he says, because it's so important, because men will be focusing on themselves, building wealth, and living their best life. So his channel will be linked in the description. You can go check him out and support him. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
become rich, you need to look poor. Today, I'm going over 5 reasons why looking poor is so important and 3 things you need to start doing today. First, different classes perceive money differently. People who are poor see money as something to use to clear their bills and get by in life. The middle class see money as something they can use to get a bit of comfort. They take on liabilities like getting a car loan or credit card debt. But the wealthy see money as a tool. They use it to buy assets like stocks and real estate to generate more money, which actually will pay for their liabilities. Take Warren Buffett, for example. He's worth over $100 billion, but he still lives in the house that he bought in 1958 for $31,500. Then there's Mark Zuckerberg. Most of the time, he's just wearing a gray t-shirt and a hoodie. And then there's Jeff Bezos, who was still driving a 1997 Honda Accord years after becoming a billionaire, saying, and I quote, "This is a perfectly good car." And also, fun fact, 61% of people who earn more than $250,000 a year are more likely to be driving Hondas, Fords, and Toyotas. The truth is, wealthy people don't need to look rich because they have their priorities and they already know what's important to them. They don't need to prove anything to anybody, which is a fantastic mindset to develop. If you know you're on your financial journey, whether that's to pay off your debt, improve your credit score, or build out your emergency fund, then you already know that you're investing in yourself, and you don't need to prove anything to anybody else. Next, trying to look rich can get very, very expensive. A 2014 Fed report found that the gap between a household's income relative to its close neighbors will impact its level of debt. In psychology, they call this keeping up with the Joneses, and once you start doing that, you're gonna have a really bad time. Basically, keeping up with the Joneses is when you use your neighbors as a measuring stick for success. For instance, if you're looking to buy a car so you can drive to work every day and you're about to pull the trigger on a Toyota Camry for about $20,000 because 1, it's gonna do the job well, and 2, you can actually buy the car outright in cash because you've been saving up that $20,000, but then you see your neighbor with a brand new Tesla Cybertruck. So in order to keep up with the Joneses, instead of getting the Camry, you decide to get a $100,000 Porsche Cayenne. You don't have the extra $80,000, but you're cool with taking out a car loan. From just the sticker price difference alone, you're expecting to pay an additional $80,000 for the privilege of looking like you're rich. But then there's gonna be hundreds of dollars in monthly interest payments and insurance, thousands in maintenance costs, and 60% depreciation in value. Over time, that $100,000 Porsche Cayenne is gonna cost you over $150,000. When everyday people sacrifice their financial goals and take on debt just to buy a luxury product, it's gonna be really tough to get out of the debt spiral. As of 2023, the average American has about $6,000 in credit card debt. So if your credit card bill is $6,000 and your credit card has a 24% interest rate and you only make the minimum payments every month, it's gonna take you over 25 years to pay off your debt of $17,332, which is nearly 3 times the original $6,000 amount, thanks to interest. But paying that off isn't even the worst part. The bigger loss is the opportunity cost. Basically, the money you spend on something is money not spent on something else. So spending $80,000 more on a nicer car means you can't invest that $80,000 in something like the stock market. If you invested that money instead in the S&P 500 with an average rate of return of 10%, you'd have over $200,000 in just 10 years. Enough to buy 2 Porsche Cayennes outright, one to drive and one to keep as a trophy to shove in your neighbor's face. But succumbing to societal pressures to look wealthy doesn't just lead to a spiral of debt, it can also cost you your most valuable thing, your peace of mind and your mental health. A 2023 study found that the bigger the wealth gap in a neighborhood, the worse their mental health is. In psychology, they explain this with the social comparison theory. Basically, people don't necessarily feel bad or sad because of their income, whether they make $30,000 or $150,000 a year. Rather, their feelings of sadness are relative to the income of those around them. Like, you could be earning 6 figures a year, you have a decent chunk of savings, and you have your own house, but if you associate with or live around multimillionaires who own multiple vacation homes, chances are you're gonna be much more unhappy than if you were broke.
To be very clear, guys, as you get older, you start to care a lot less. Okay? I could give less of a rat's ass about those royalty people across the street, especially when simplicity is a luxury for me as a man. And then when you start to learn about millionaires, the people who have lots of money, you discover that most of the millionaires, they're not living these extravagant lives. Okay, they live in simple homes, they drive simple cars, and they've saved most of their money. Some of them live off the interest from their money, and even from the interest, they're saving a lot. They're saving a large portion of that amount of the interest that they're living off. So, for example, if they have $1 million in the bank and they're receiving something like $500,000, oh, 500,000, they're receiving something like $50,000 in interest per year because of the way that they have their lives structured, especially for single men, a single wealthy man, that $50,000, he's gonna end up saving a lot of it or putting it in investments. He's gonna gamble that money. He's gonna gamble it in stocks. He's gonna gamble it in crypto. He's gonna gamble it in other places where he can make money. And he'll have a lot of these guys. They have a nice gaming PC, and I've been learning how Steam works. Basically, the way Steam works, it's if you don't know what Steam is, it's a place where you can buy your games. You can buy your games digitally. You basically, if there's any game that you want, you just put it on your wish list. You add it to your wish list, and then when the game goes on sale, you can buy it for pennies sometimes. For example, I wanted to pick up Warhammer. The Warhammer 2 just came out, but I wanted to pick up the original Warhammer. They were selling that game for $60. I put it on my Steam list, and I ended up picking it up for like literally nothing. Like, I don't remember, it was like $10, $15, like nothing. All right. There are a lot of games that end up becoming like 90% off. Oh, the game was $60 or $70. All right. Oh, now it's going for $12.99. Okay, yeah, I'll pick that up. Or it's going for $3.99. It was selling for it was 60 before, but right now it's $3.99. And what the publishers are doing is that they know that people have these games in their wish list. A lot of people have these games in their wish list, for example. So they leave the game at a certain price, and sometimes these are old games or older games, but not always. Sometimes like even a year old. So people have these games in their wish list, and I'm guessing that on the back end with Steam, because it would be crazy if they didn't. Valve lets these people know, hey, there's over 1 million people that have your game in their wish list. So this is an older game. If you were to sell this game for even $4, all right, you're selling for 60 right now. But if you were to sell this game for even $4, and there's over 1 million people, there's over 1 million people that have this game in their wish list, realistically, most of those people are going to convert. And so if you put it on sale, I mean, a million sales from that's $4 million right there for you. $4 million versus trying to sell this game for $60 a piece. And you're lucky if it's an older game now. I mean, how much did you make last year from the game? 100K? And again, I'm giving you numbers, even though they sell it for less. So let's say it's a couple million people and they put a game on sale for $5, that usually would sell for 60. They could potentially, depending on how many people have that game in their wish list, they can pull in 10 or $20 million. And that's a lot. That's a substantial amount of money. It's very, very interesting. So for a lot of guys, that's like, they're just going to get themselves a nice gaming PC, a Steam Deck, and buy their games dirt cheap and live very, very comfortably. Very comfortably, because a gaming PC is a one-time purchase. And you could just upgrade your GPU, put a new GPU in your system, and you could hold on to that system for years. I hear from some of you guys who tell me you have computers going back 10 years or more, and you're going to keep it until the day you pass away, until the day you leave this earth, because it's a damn good machine. It was powerful when you bought it, and you don't need anything else. Guys, I wanted to add, I think it was like Apple Care to one of my products, one of my Macs, and I called up Apple, and the guy who was helping me, as we're talking about Macs, and this dude literally just told me like, oh, his Mac is like 10 years old, or it's like, I don't remember what year, like it was like 10 years old. And based on what he told me, I was like, it just hit me, bro, your Mac, that means that you're likely running, like you basically updated the software on it technically illegally. I don't think you basically, when your Mac runs out, like, on Macs, they usually Apple usually provides OS updates for like 7 to 10 years. The thing is that you can still upgrade the software using different means to like the latest version of the Mac OS. And that's pretty much, I guess that's kind of what, he didn't say it outright, but that's essentially what he's doing. So even at Apple, like you buy like a good Mac and just update the OS another way, and you can keep using that thing going on like over 10 years, and you refuse to let go of it. Like I'm literally have three Macs in front of me. I have my MacBook M1, my MacBook Pro M1. I have a 13-inch M1, and then I have a 16-inch, and I have a 16-inch MacBook Pro from like 2013, which I love. This thing is giant, beautiful screen and everything. I'm not gonna just let it go. I'm gonna work, do a bit more work on it and get it working again the way I want it to, because it actually has 16 gigabytes of RAM in it. So it's gonna take I'm gonna have to put a little bit of work into it to get it working exactly the way I want it to work again. But I'm going to, because there's no way I'm getting rid of it. It is so beautiful. It is powerful. Like I would basically, if I have a place overseas or just even as a backup laptop, it is such a great deal. I love this device. But I've got my MacBook Pro M1, and my M1 is it's a mean beast. It's an absolute beast. Like, don't be disrespectful to her, but she's a beast. She's a beast. By the way, guys, if you're still watching at the 1 hour mark, just go ahead and type 1 hour gang in the chat. That's us right here. That's us right there. Some of y'all are watching on television, watching on television, but you can always come back later and just get it in. All right, 1 hour gang. Y'all, come on. 1 hour gang, 1 hour gang, 1 hour gang. That's the posse right here. 1 hour gang, 1 hour gang, 1 hour gang. All right, if you're still watching after 1 hour, 1 hour gang, 1 hour gang. Women have put themselves in this situation.
These are high costs, and none of these expenditures are for us men. As long as I don't get caught up in car loans or mortgages, and I don't care about continuing the family line, I can't even spend all my 4,000 yuan monthly salary. If you get married, you're doomed to a life of hard work and debt. But my life is carefree and worry-free. If you get married, I can bet you'll fall into a deep abyss of debt, never to rise again. In the future, if I have a minor illness, I can treat it. If it's a major illness, I don't care, no need to treat it. After all, I don't need to pass on my lineage, and without car loans or mortgages, I live freely every day, sleeping as long as I want. Brothers, let me tell you, not marrying a wife or getting married is the wisest choice you can make.
Yo, bro! Holy cow! Not marrying a wife. You guys, men are basically giving up and saying they don't care if they pass away. If I get very sick, if I get sick, I can, if it's nothing serious, I can pay and treat it. If I get really sick, and then I'll pass away. But I'm living a wonderful life right now. I'm enjoying my life. So why would I be afraid of leaving this world after enjoying my life? That is the key, guys. The wisest decision you can make is not to get married. Brothers, don't do it. Don't get married. Guys, all of these women are going to be sick, are going to be homeless. They're going to be homeless and on the streets, and the state is not going to be able to do anything. And all the state is going to do is demonize men and attack men. And if you try to punish men, like take away video games, men will just start pirating things. All right. And if you go full blown Marxism, then basically you're just going to have a meltdown like Venezuela or whatever. Our men are just going to start fleeing the country. Okay. Or it's going to, guys, and as you do this, for example, the men that go around, in the enforcers that go around going after men, that's what they'll be viewed as. They'll be completely despised by society. All right. And you're going to end up in a society where everyone basically hates you if you start doing this type of work. It's very, very, it's kind of hilarious. It's kind of hilarious. I just think it's pretty intriguing.
It's the biggest blessing and the most cost-effective way to live. As long as I don't get married, I won't become a simp, and I won't have high expenses. As long as I don't get married, I naturally don't need to buy a house or a car, and my life pressure is almost zero. I can't even spend all of my 4,000 yuan a month, and now, I'm the person with the most cash in my hometown. Not getting married means I don't have to go out of my way to please women, I won't be blinded by love, and I won't lose out big. Nowadays, you spend tens of thousands on an engagement, only to turn around and possibly get divorced soon after, without even getting the bride price back. This happens way too often.
Isn't it ridiculous? Wasn't there a news story recently?
A man had been married for many years, and it turned out none of his 3 kids were his. Brothers, I don't work my life away for women, I don't become a simp, and I don't get married. This way, from the beginning, I avoid many risks in life. I don't need to work hard at my job. From the start, I live an easy and carefree life. Don't live in what others call an exciting world. Live in your own exciting world.
我说大龄剩男们啊，你们慌什么慌？你们不要慌。
Why should us older single men panic? There's no need to panic. Just look at those older single women, they aren't panicking at all. The moment they open their mouths, they demand tens of thousands of yuan in dowry, a car, a house, and savings. Do you have those conditions? If those older single women aren't in a hurry to get married, why should we be? If they themselves don't plan on getting married, how can we even manage to get married? I suggest that we shouldn't get married either. I myself am an older single man, without a wife and without a girlfriend. And I don't plan on getting married. Because older single women don't plan on getting married, right? How they live, we will live the same way. If they grow old without children, then us older single men will also grow old without children. If they seriously save money and prepare for retirement, then we should also save money and prepare for retirement. These older single women just want to find rich men, but can they really find one? If they do, it's their good luck, but how many can actually find a rich man? Maybe only 1 out of 100 older single women. So, let's look at the remaining 99 older single women, and see if they can find a rich man. If they can't, then we shouldn't rush into marriage either. Actually, this works out pretty well, doesn't it? If they don't want to marry, we don't want to marry either. That's a win-win situation. It's a win for men and a win for women. So why spend so much money to marry them? We've worked hard for 20 or 30 years, and still haven't saved enough to meet their demands. Why should women be allowed to demand this from us? They've also been working for many years, they're about the same age as us, so why do they get to demand that we have money, buy cars and buy houses while they don't need to have any of it? Go ask them. Most older single women probably don't have any savings at all. It's the same for men, many of us don't have savings either. So, why must men meet these conditions? We're all starting from the same point, we're all starting from zero. Society is tough, making money isn't easy, and women understand that too. When they lower their standards and are willing to marry, then we'll consider marrying them. If they're not willing, then we're not willing to marry them either. In the end, they won't be able to outlast men.
Many older women may ultimately face the fate of being valuable, but without a market. Although many still blindly believe that there are 30 million more men than women in China, in reality, the number of single women in China is already approaching 100 million. Some divorced women even ask for exorbitant conditions when looking for a partner, and they feel justified in thinking they should easily find a suitable match.
Y'all, do you hear what this man basically said? He said if women think that they're going to outlast men, they're not. They will not outlast men. So basically what these men are saying is that they will wait, and they will wait until women end up in a state where they basically fall in status and they are forced to reevaluate. Many of them won't. Many of them will basically say they're going to pass away in the streets because they've been so brainwashed that they believe that they deserve the world and that they're not going to compromise. I told you guys, you have women who live in sewers. They live in sewers rather than compromise. They say they're not going to compromise because that's how messed up their psychology is. That's how messed up their minds are because of women's empowerment and society and the Kardashians. And of course, they're going to blame men for it. Men don't care. Men are going to live their best lives. And as women are shaming men and attacking men and putting down men, what are men going to do? Men are just going to say, yeah, that's the reason why I'm avoiding these people. That's the reason why I'm walking away. That's the reason why I don't care anymore. Women have basically done this to themselves. And guys, more and more men are just going to be looking poor. Men are going to go around driving old luxury cars, sometimes even slapping a little bit of dirt on it, walk around looking like a blue-collar worker. I'm telling you. And in reality, they're just going to be wearing comfortable clothes. All right? They'll dress just well enough not to look like a bum, but just poor enough to not look like a person that a woman would want to have a relationship with. Okay, wear baggy, like a big shirt, and just stuff like that. Basically, learn how. It doesn't even have to be baggy. Just stuff that is going to convey to a woman, this guy doesn't have it. This guy is broke. Dress well enough so that the police will think that you're a transient, but not so well that a woman thinks that you're valuable enough to be in a relationship, and then live your best life. I realize it now. Like even the women in my past, as long as I ensure that they don't know that I'm making a lot of money, and I don't walk around looking like I'm special or like I've got cash or I'm trying to. Not, I'll do that overseas. if I want to look nice and because or dress very well, I'll do that overseas. I'm not gonna do that in Western society. All right. No one needs to know that you have money. All right. A lot of guys, you're going to see more faceless YouTube channels as well because more men are going to realize a woman finds out that, oh, you're a YouTuber. So maybe you have a lot of money. Okay, now I'm going to come after you. So men are basically going to rule the world from the shadows. A lot of men are just going to do that. They're going to rule the world from the shadows. They're going to basically, but it's really women who are going to end up in the shadow realm.
In a shared apartment with other broke college kids. According to the social comparison theory, it's human nature to always compare ourselves to something else, whether that's strangers, families, or even neighbors. The problem is, constantly comparing yourself with negativity will impact your mental health and your personal happiness, because there will always be someone wealthier than you. And just speaking about mental health, I want to talk about something personal. Like many of you, I didn't grow up with money. My parents did everything they could to save. They bought my clothes in a bigger size so I can wear it years later, and I realized that growing up without money, you start to build a lot of financial baggage and trauma that negatively impacts you later in life. But what I think is really helpful is therapy, which can give you the strategies to work through this. That's why I'm excited to talk about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and accessible. Finding a therapist can be tough, especially when you're limited to the options in your area.
Yeah, guys, do not go looking for therapy. All right? Listen to me. I thought about working with BetterHelp, and then I realized, you know what? It's not a good idea. Okay? That's just, guys, you want to solve your problems? Let me tell you something about money. Money cannot solve your problems. Money can solve a lot of your problems. Money cannot buy you happiness, but it can facilitate happiness. Money can solve a lot of problems. Most of our problems are linked to money. And once you don't have money to worry about anymore, and you've gotten over the need for a woman for validation or to avoid loneliness or physical intimacy, if you want that, you can pay for it. Then suddenly you have lots more money and your happiness increases. And once you put toxic people out of your life and you're in an environment where you're happy, for a lot of people, even if you're in a bad environment overall, but you have a home, you just stay inside and live your best life inside. A lot of men, tell you, a lot of men are just going to leave their homes. And like the course I told you about, guys, this is a great course because this is something where you can actually go to places where you don't even have to interact with women and go get your food. For example, you're going to learn how to get food where you don't have to completely cut your food bill. Either cut it in half or eliminate it outright. All right, eliminate your food bill outright. You don't need and it's the same food. It's the same food. Completely wipe out your cost of living. We're talking about clothing. We're talking about food. All right, you're gonna get some money in your hands. If you don't have a car, don't worry about that. Okay, you're gonna get your transportation you're gonna get your transportation covered. All right, they're gonna cover your Uber. You're gonna cover your Lyft. They're gonna cover your public. You're gonna be good. You need to check out that course. You need to check out that course that I've built for you guys. All right, because we're heading into an era where men are gonna be going around. Men are gonna be going around and looking poor deliberately to avoid women. To avoid relationships. All right, go and check it out. Okay, because in today's challenging world, knowing how to use government and community resources can make all the difference. And that's why I created the course Survive and Thrive for you. All right, it's 12 lessons, and the course is going to teach you how to secure cash, how to secure money, how to secure food, how to secure housing, how to secure healthcare, and more. Like I said. And guys, it's basically having a trusted advisor that's going to help you to leverage community support to stabilize your finances and grow your wealth. There's no reason not to do this. You're leaving way too much money on the table. Join me and learn step-by-step strategies to maximize available resources and enhance your financial stability. Click the link in the description to sign up now, guys. Don't miss out. Do not mess up. Do not miss the opportunity. All right? Because, guys, guys, the cost of everything is only going up. Cost of everything is only going up. All right. So right now that price, it's like the PlayStation, right? It's only going to cost more next year. Only going to cost more a year from now.
For the exact same service, then you might not want to dress really fancy. But it's not just that people will charge you more money, you might even have fewer authentic connections and friendships. Many of us want to look wealthy to feel like we've made it and to be accepted in society. It's like saying, look at me world, I have this fancy watch, a luxury car, I've made it. I'm not a failure. I have value, so let's be friends. But the Ross School of Business found that having flashy displays of wealth might have the opposite effect of what you're hoping for. In the study, they showed 395 people's social media profiles of other people. Some profiles had modest updates about their lives, while other profiles showed off luxury stuff, expensive clothes, cars, and holiday vacations. Although people with flashy posts were thought to be wealthier and higher class, participants thought they were status signaling and believed that these people were more self-interested. As a result, fewer people were willing to form genuine connections with them, and they were less likely to be invited into social groups. In this case, the cost of appearing wealthy seems to outweigh the benefits in social situations, which defeats the purpose of wanting to look wealthy in the first place. Next, looking poor will allow you to focus on what really matters. Like for me, that's becoming financially free so I can retire at 35 without a care in the world. If you're not trying to keep up with the latest trends or impress others, like always buying the latest phones, the nicest clothes, or a brand new TV so you can see the hair follicle of Leonardo DiCaprio, then achieving your financial dreams, such as retiring 20 years earlier, becomes much more attainable. For every 5% of extra income that you save, you can retire multiple years earlier. For instance, if you earn the median income of $65K per year and you save 10% or $6,500, you can be financially free in 51.4 years. But if you could just save 5% more, at 15%, you could be financially free in 42.8 years. For just 5% more effort, you can shave off more than 8 years that you need to work. But it's not just that you're able to save more money, it's the fact that you've transformed your lifestyle so you need less to be comfortable.
50 years, work for 50 years, 42 years. Guys, if we enter the workforce at like in our mid-20s, in our early 20s or mid-20s, and we work for 50 years, when we finally work for 50 years, what the hell? That means we would end up retiring in our 70s. Most of these women cannot do that. Guys, most women have no savings. They're not going to have any savings because they have no financial literacy, and their main focus is going to basically always be extracting wealth and resources from men, using the state and working as agents of the state. But everything is collapsing, and women no longer even can pair bond with men. They basically see them as ATMs. They just want our attention, our time, and our money. So yeah, they've basically created a perfect hell for themselves. Guys, these leftover women, they're panicking, and as you can see, Chinese men have already realized that older leftover women just are not worth it anymore. What do you guys think regarding all of this? I want to know your thoughts regarding this, what you watch here today, guys, because basically the future for women is a lot of destitution, poverty, and hardship. Women will be living in shelters. They'll be living on the streets. They'll be living in their cars. And this is only going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years. Extreme destitution of women throughout many Western societies, and societies are going to ask, how did women end up in this poor condition as men are actually thriving despite hard times? Let me know guys. I said it first. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll talk about it there. And again, shout out again to the 1 Hour Gang, guys. Shout out to the 1 Hour Gang. Again, guys, 1 Hour Gang in the comments. If you made it to this point, shout out to the 1 Hour Gang. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.